All right, welcome back, guys. We are going to get started on lesson 4 in our workbook. But before we do that, if you're in class, we're going to be doing an activity, and I'll just show you. Let me get my document camera up. All right, so we are going to be doing this activity in class. So we're in lesson 4 here. We want to try to reduce having to draw a bunch of marbles and buckets. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of drawing buckets. So in class, we're going to create our own trick. So we start with a number, or think of a number, and we'll do a few steps, maybe 4 or 5. And then we're going to draw pictures of each. And then we're going to have the description of the pictures, which is kind of what you've been writing on the quizzes and stuff, like 4 buckets, 3 marbles, 0 buckets, 10 marbles, those kind of things. And then we've got a column for abbreviations. So the abbreviation part is where kind of more of the algebra stuff comes into play. And we use letters to keep track of what is what. So we're going to kind of do one of these in class. So if you're in class, you get the advantage of that. If not, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the workbook here. Okay, so let me grab a pencil and we will get going. So the first thing we have here is draw and describe the pictures, then abbreviate your description. So you can kind of see that first line there has think of a number. And when we have think of a number, we use a single bucket because the bucket represents whatever number that you choose. And then the description is a bucket. And then in this case, they're using B to represent that bucket. Okay, so then the second line, we have add 5. So we took that that bucket and we added 5 to it, which is why they have a bucket with 5 marbles. Okay, and then they have their description is a bucket and 5 marbles. Remember, a bucket was represented by, or abbreviated by, B. So they have B plus 5, and the plus 5 comes from the add 5 there. All right, so then the next one, they kind of leave us some blanks. So if they multiply by 2, okay, so if I take this and I multiply it by 2, that's going to leave us with 2 buckets. Oh man, that pencil broke. I just sharpened that pencil too. All right, let's see. Here's one. All right, so I have 2 buckets. And then I take the 5 marbles times 2, and I'm going to have 10 marbles. 9 and 10. So here I'm going to put 2 buckets and 10 marbles. So I have 2 buckets and 10 marbles. Okay, so 2b plus 10. Subtract 2. Well, that subtracting 2 takes away from the marbles here. So I have 2 buckets and I have 8 marbles. Okay, 8 marbles. So here I'm going to put 2 buckets plus 8. Notice I didn't put a 10 minus 2 because I know what 10 minus 2 is. I know that 10 minus 2 is 8. So I'm just going to put 8 here. And I only had 8 marbles, and I got 8 marbles there. So we're only putting kind of what is in the picture. All right. Divide by 2. So if I take 2 buckets and I divide it by 2, I then have 1 bucket. If I have 8 marbles and I divide 8 divided by 2, that is 4 marbles. So I have 2 buckets, 4 marbles. So then I have 2 buckets plus 4. So I got 4 marbles there. And the last one is to subtract your original number. So I'm going to subtract that bucket, and I have 4 marbles. So 4 marbles. So then, I did this step wrong. I don't have 2 buckets. I had 2 buckets up here. I only have a bucket or 1 bucket. So we're just going to put a B there. Sorry about that. So this step, I got 1 bucket, 4 marbles, a bucket. You can put a 1 there if you want. I'm okay with that. So 1 bucket and 1 bucket plus 4 marbles. So then I just have 4 marbles left. So I just have the number 4 there. All right. So we got another one. A lot more empty boxes here to fill out. So think of a number. That's a bucket. Oh, and now we get to use our own abbreviation. But if we look down here, they use B. So we're going to have to use B up here as well. You could use any letter of the alphabet that you want. Okay. But in this case, they want to use B, and we need to keep it the same letter all the way through. All right, here, well, we see what they did here. So the description of this, or the description of the picture is 1 bucket and 2 marbles. So how do you go from 1 bucket to a bucket and 2 marbles? I'm going to add 2. So we're just adding 2 to that original number. Then they multiply by 3. So if I take the bucket and multiply by 3, now I got 3 buckets. And 2 times 3 is 6. So I got 6 marbles. So 3 buckets, 6 marbles. So in this case, that is 3 buckets plus 6 marbles there. All right, here I just have 1 item here. So we're going to go with, they've got 2 buckets, so 2 buckets. And they've got 6 marbles. So that's how I get that. And then I'm going to use this to draw my picture. So 2 buckets. See, would you agree that it's, I mean, my buckets are even starting to look really bad. I'm just tired of drawing buckets. I think I'd rather do this in the long run here. And 6 marbles. Okay, so I had 3 buckets and 6 marbles. Then I went to 2 buckets and 6 marbles. So I only got rid of one. I only got rid of 1 bucket. And in order to get rid of a bucket, we are going to subtract your original number. And this symbol here, this hashtag you would call it, is a pound sign, and it means number. Okay, and then they're going to divide by 2. So I got to take these 2 buckets and divide it by 2. So then I get 1 bucket. I take 6 marbles and divide by 2. I get 3 marbles. So that's 1 bucket and 3 marbles. So that is a bucket plus 3. And then down here, it looks like they just have a 3. So they got rid of their bucket. So 3 marbles, which is just 3 marbles. So they got rid of their bucket. So again, they subtracted, subtract your original number. All right. So number 3 here, find the missing numbers and abbreviate the picture. Oh, they gave us a picture this time. We don't have to come up with the rule. So they went from 1 bucket to 2 buckets. So here they're just multiplying it by 2. And we can check. 7 times 2 is 14. 4 times 2 is 8. 9 times 2 is 18. Then when we go the other way, we have to divide. So 20 divided by 2 is 10. Going this way, we multiply by 2. So 100 times 2 is 200. Going this way, we divide. 2,000 divided by 2 is 1,000. Okay, going this way, we multiply. 0 times 2 is 0. Going this way, 1/2 times 2 is 1. And then this way we divide. So 2b, which represents this 2 buckets over here, and then I just get a b. Now I only have 1 bucket. Number 4, find out what the trickster is picturing. Find the missing numbers and abbreviate the pictures. So we start with a bucket here and a bucket. And then what do? Okay, so 16 to 8. There's a couple things we could do here. We could either subtract 8 or divide it in half. If I go to here, 83, if I divide 83 by 2, do I get 75? What happens if I take 83 and I subtract 8? Will I get 75? Yes, you will. So we're going to take our bucket minus 8. Whoop, I need to put 8 marbles there. No, we'll just leave it 8. Okay. So over here, we can fill this out. This would be a bucket minus 8. We're going to get rid of 8 marbles. And I know what you're saying. We didn't have 8 marbles to get rid of, but this is how we are going to picture it. All right. So we have 16 minus 8 is 8. 83 minus 8 is 75. 103 minus 8 is 95. And again, if you need a calculator, use it. You can use Google as a calculator. You can use Desmos as a calculator. If you're not in class, you can use your phone as a calculator. Okay, so a lot of ways we can use a calculator. So 10 minus 8 is 2. 40 minus 8 is 32. Now, when we go this way, we have to add. So 0 plus 8 is 8. Going this way, we subtract. So 100 minus 8 is 92. 1,000 minus 8 is 992. And then a bucket minus 8 is b minus 8. All right. So that one was a little bit tricky because we didn't have any marbles to get rid of. All right, here we go. So let's look at this. Number 5. These two mobiles mean the same thing. Solve them both. All right, so we're going to look at both of these and solve them. All right. All right, so I know that this side has to equal this side. So we're going to cross things out that match up. Okay, I'm going to get rid of a star and a star. And I know that a star is 1. So 1, 1, 1. And all I have a heart equals 3 stars. So if a heart is 3 stars and a star is 1, that means a heart is worth 3. Okay. Now they give us a key here. They say a star is S and a heart is H and a pentagon is P. So look here, I had 2 hearts, so 2H, and 5 stars, so plus 5S. And then I had 3 hearts plus 2S. So again here, I can mark out or cancel some things that match up. So over here I have 2 hearts and here I have 3 hearts, so I can get rid of 2 of them. So if I get rid of 2 over here, I'm just going to be left with 1 heart. I have 2 stars over here, so I'm going to get rid of 2. I had 5, but if I get rid of 2 of them, I have 3. So we're going to write 3S and then H. But I know that S is 1. So I'm going to plug a 1 in right here. So 3 times 1 equals your H. And we know that 3 times 1 is 3. And look here, I get the same answer in both. But I solved it 2 different ways, and that's totally fine. These two mobiles also mean the same thing. Complete the second one and solve both. All right, so I have 1, 2 stars, so 2 stars. I have 1, 2 pentagons, so 2p. And then I have 1, 2, 3 pentagons, so 3p. So we filled that out. All right, let's cross some things out here. So that matches with that, and that one matches with that. I know that a star is 1. So 1 and 1. So 2 stars is the same as a pentagon. And I know that a star is worth 1, so a pentagon has to be worth 2. Let's see if that's the same thing over here. Okay, so I've got 2p over here and 3p over here. So I'm going to get rid of 2 of them, and I'm left with 1p over here. So 2s over here and p over here. Well, I know that s is 1, so that replace that with a 1. So 2 times 1 equals p. So that means that p has to be 2. All right, we got a few more here that we're going to work through. We're going to work through all the green on this video, and then I'll leave you kind of the extra stuff to see if you can do that. All right, it says this equation describes the first mobile. Use the key to write an equation that describes each of the mobiles. Okay, so it says this one is our example. So I have 1, 2 triangles, so 2t plus a butterfly equals, remember earlier I said this little thing was the equals 1 triangle and 2 butterflies. So 1t plus 2 butterflies. So we can use this key to have our letters, okay? So here I have 1s, or you can just write an S, plus 1, 2, 3 hexagons, which is x, so 3x equals 1, 2 squares. That kind of looks like a 5. So we'll write it kind of small. And you may want to put a 1 with that S there. So 2 squares plus 1x, or you can put the number 1 there. It doesn't matter. All right, so I got 1, 2 butterflies, which is a B, plus 1, 2 flowers, which is an F up there, equals 1, 2, 3 flowers, 3F. All right, and number 9. So I've got 1, 2 kites, so 2K plus 1 moon. So we're just going to write plus M equals, I've got 1, 2 flowers, so 2F, and 1, 2 moons, so plus 2M. All right, so we're just taking the mobile and writing an equation there. Okay, and here we can translate these equations into algebraic notation. Okay, so again, we're getting rid of the shapes and we're putting in some algebra. So it has 2c, which is clover, plus 4. So 2 clover plus 4 equals 1 clover plus 11. Okay, and you can put a 1 in front of the c if you want. That's okay. Okay, so we have 1 heart, so H, plus 1 square, which is S. Again, I'm using the key that they provided me with right there. So S equals 1, 2 hearts, so 2H minus 9. All right, we go over here. 1, 2, 3, 4 pentagons, which is P. So I got 4P plus 3 equals 1, 2, 3P plus 8. Hopefully you're kind of getting the hang of this. Make sure you're using the key here to help you out. All right, so I got 1, 2, 3 clovers plus a square equals 1, 2 hearts. So 2H. All right, here we are. with the last 4 that we're going to do. So it says represent each equation using pictures. Excuse me. With pictures. So your answers could vary here if you wanted, but we're going to kind of keep it basic, and we're also going to use this key here. So 2s. So I've got 2 squares. So square plus a square plus 5 equals, we got 1s there. So square plus 8. Here we've got 5 s's. So square plus square plus square plus another square plus another square. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equals h, which is a heart, plus 3. I'm sure your pictures look way better than what mine do. So s, which is squared, plus k. Well, they don't have a k in this key. Let's look up here. Looks like they got this kite as a k. So kite equals c, which is a clover, plus 1. All right, do your best on those drawings. You can see mine. They're not perfect. That's okay. All right, so 2c, back with the clovers. So I got 2 clovers. 1 plus another one. Plus 2 kites. There's 1 kite plus 2 kites equals 2h, and we'll use the heart for h. So a heart plus another heart. Okay, so that is the need to know stuff. Okay, we've got all this important stuff in the green filled out. So what I'd like you to do is kind of your assignment is see if you can work through the stuff to make you think, and maybe the tough stuff. Be working ahead on those. And remember, you will have to do the additional practice here. So you could also work through some of these if you would like. Okay, so you got page 17 and page 18 that you can start working through now. All right, we will see you in the next lesson.